Winning is a state of mind long before it becomes a result. And if your mind isn't stronger than your feelings, you've already lost. Regret doesn't knock. It kicks the door down when it's too late. Every setback is a setup for a comeback, but only if you refuse to stay down. This world doesn't reward the average, it devours them. So ask yourself right now, are you a predator or the prey? The reason most people lose is simple. They never understood what it actually takes to win. They think winning is about talent or luck or having the right connections. That's what losers cling to, that fairy tale where the universe blesses you out of nowhere. But winning, real, unstoppable, alpha level winning, it's a decision, a violent, deliberate, unshakable decision made in the darkest corners of the mind where no one else can hear you but your own doubts screaming. It's waking up one day and saying, I will not be average. I will not be forgotten. I will not live a life of quiet desperation while pretending I'm fine. That's the root of it. Winning at all costs means you stop living like everyone else. It means you destroy the very identity that kept you weak. You abandon mediocrity like it's a play, because it is. The average man justifies his failures with excuses. The winner finds a way or he dies trying. Most people live like sheep. They want comfort more than victory. They want to be liked more than they want to be powerful. But comfort is a drug and it kills ambition. It numbs your instincts. It turns lions into house cats. Every time you hit snooze, every time you justify skipping the gym, every time you procrastinate that business idea or that hard conversation, you're voting for the man you don't want to become. You're giving up your place on the podium so you can feel good today. And that's exactly how losers are created. One small compromise at a time. Winning doesn't come from one massive act of greatness. It comes from 1,000 silent sacrifices when nobody's watching. From doing the hard thing when every part of your mind tells you to take the easy way out. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. Most people never figure that out, and they pay for it with a lifetime of regret. The truth is, winning is supposed to be hard. It's meant to be brutal. It's meant to push you to your absolute limits until you either adapt or get crushed. There's no glory without suffering, no greatness without isolation. If you want to be first, if you want to dominate, you have to be willing to do what 99% of people won't. That means giving up comfort, giving up weak friends, giving up distractions. It means killing the boy inside you that wants to be coddled and building the man who takes what he wants regardless of who doubts him. Winning doesn't ask if you're ready. It demands that you become ready. You don't need permission. You need purpose. You need fire. You need to wake up every day with the mindset that second place is failure. That good enough is an insult, that anything short of absolute domination is a betrayal of your potential. People talk about balance, about work-life harmony. Let me tell you something. Balance is for the mediocre. The man who wins is the one who sacrifices imbalance for a season so he can live free for the rest of his life. While others are out chasing weekends, he's building an empire. While they're on Netflix, he's on his grind. While they're waiting for motivation, he's doing it anyway. That's the difference. That's what separates winners from spectators. Success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every damn day. And most men, they can't pay the price. Not because they're incapable, but because they've been trained to be soft. They've been taught to be passive, to wait for life to hand them opportunity instead of forging it with bloody hands and sleepless nights. Winning at all costs means you don't hope things work out, you make them work out, you force the outcome, you impose your will on life. But here's the hope, here's the power. You can become that man. You weren't born a loser, you were just taught to live like one. And if you can be taught weakness, you can teach yourself strength. You can rewire your brain, you can rewire your story, you can rise up with the kind of energy that scares your old self into silence. You can outwork, outthink, and outlast anyone if you decide that losing is no longer an option. You don't need more motivation. You need to make losing so painful that winning becomes the only choice. That's how winners think. That's how killers move. Not with hesitation, but with conviction. With rage, with purpose. So let this be your moment. The second your soul finally wakes up, no more half measures, no more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time is a lie. The perfect plan is a myth. All you have is right now and the decision to change everything. Stop looking at winners like they're born different. They're not. They're just men who got sick of losing and did something about it. And now it's your turn. Decide to win, decide to go all in, decide to burn the boats, kill the doubt, and move like a savage until victory is yours. Winning at all costs is the only mindset worth having, because second place is just the story of the man who almost made it. I remember a time when I was flat broke. Not just money-wise, I mean mentally bankrupt. I was living in a small, dark apartment, mold on the ceiling, mattress on the floor, phone cracked, bank account in the red. I didn't even have proper food half the time. I'd eat cheap bread and canned tuna for weeks because that's all I could afford. And during those nights when the silence was loud and the hunger dug into my ribs like knives, I used to sit there and stare at the ceiling and think, is this it? Is this who I am? I wasn't lazy. I wasn't stupid. I just hadn't made the decision yet, the real decision to win at all costs. I was still playing safe, still trying to be reasonable, still scared of failing harder. But I hit that point where I realized the pain of staying the same was more suffocating than the fear of change. And that's when everything snapped. That's when I chose war. People think success is this smooth upward climb. It's not. It's messy, it's ugly, it's chaotic. When I started chasing real power, I lost sleep, lost friends, lost comfort, but I found something far more valuable. I found control. I stopped begging life to be easier and started becoming stronger. I stopped looking for shortcuts and started building weapons out of every failure. Your story doesn't end in struggle unless you quit writing it, and I wasn't about to put the pen down. Every rejection, every setback, every lonely night became fuel. I started treating my losses like data. If I failed in business, I didn't cry about it. I analyzed, I studied, I went back in sharper. If I got outperformed in the gym, I didn't sulk, I trained harder. If I made a bad decision, I didn't spiral, I adjusted. That's how winners evolve. They don't pray for pity, they adapt until the game bends to their will. There was a day I'll never forget. I had just lost a major opportunity. Could have changed everything. A deal fell through. I was devastated. Most people would have packed it in and gone back to being average. But I looked in the mirror and said, this isn't the end. This is the beginning of the version of me that wins no matter what. I didn't take a day off. I didn't drown in self-pity. I went back to work with rage, controlled, focused rage. That's the difference between winners and the rest. Winners use the pain. They don't run from it. They don't numb it. They weaponize it. You know what really changed me? It wasn't money. It wasn't status. It was walking into a room and knowing no one there could break me. Knowing I'd been through hell and made it out with scars that told stories of survival and dominance. That unshakable confidence, that came from choosing to win when it was inconvenient, choosing to grind when no one was watching, choosing to stay disciplined when the world was out partying. You build self-respect by doing hard things over and over again without applause. That's how I went from invisible to undeniable, not by chasing approval, but by chasing mastery. I remember training in the cold, knuckles bleeding, muscles screaming, and thinking, no one's coming to save me. And that wasn't depressing, it was liberating. Because once you realize no one owes you anything, you take full control. You stop waiting and start building. You stop hoping and start executing. I built my business like that. I built my physique like that. I built my mind like that, not with luxury, but with pressure. The harder life hit me, the more I leaned in, because when your back's against the wall and you still move forward, you become untouchable. The world didn't hand me anything. I took it, I earned it, I bled for it, and now I live free, not just financially, but mentally. I don't walk into a room wondering if I'm enough. I walk in knowing they have to catch up. And it all started with one choice: to win no matter what. That mindset built me. That obsession shaped me. And now I'll die before I go back to average. Once you taste power, comfort disgusts you. That's where I live now. In that space where ambition suffocates excuses, where action crushes overthinking, and where results are the only language that matters. You might be sitting where I was, broke, lost, doubting yourself. Maybe people don't believe in you. Maybe you don't even believe in you. But here's the truth. They don't have to. You don't need them to. All you need is one moment of clarity, one moment where you decide you're done playing small, done apologizing, done waiting, because from that moment forward, you can rewrite everything. You can become the man who walks into chaos and laughs, the man who gets hit and keeps moving, the man who doesn't stop until he wins, not out of luck, but out of sheer refusal to quit. That's the real story, not the fame, not the flash, the beast you become in the process, the man forged through fire. And once you've seen him, once you've lived like him, You will never settle for second place again. Not in business, not in fitness, not in life. You will win at all costs, because the alternative is simply not an option. There's a reason most people lose, and it's not because they're incapable. It's because deep down they've made peace with mediocrity. They've convinced themselves that trying is enough, that effort without results still counts for something. But life doesn't reward effort, life rewards outcomes. It's not about how hard you tried, it's about whether you won. And the second you accept that, you stop wasting energy on excuses and start doing what needs to be done. There is no room for softness in a world built on domination. You either take control or you're control. You either rise or you rot. If you're not obsessed with winning, you've already lost. That's the truth most can't handle, because obsession isn't comfortable. It's brutal. It demands sacrifice. But that's the price. That's the toll at the gates of greatness. And what scares people the most isn't the grind, it's the responsibility. It's the moment you realize everything wrong in your life is your fault. That's terrifying until it becomes liberating. Because once you claim responsibility, you reclaim power. The moment you stop blaming others, the moment you say, no one is coming to save me, you tap into a fire that never goes out. You stop waiting for permission. You stop craving validation. You become your own weapon. That's what winning at all costs truly means. It's not about stepping on others. It's about refusing to be stepped on. It's about building a version of yourself so sharp, so focused, that nothing can dull your edge. You want to know the real fear? Is waking up 10 years from now and realizing you're still the same, that all the potential you had was wasted, that the dreams you buried never saw daylight, that you let comfort sedate your ambition. That's the nightmare. That's what should keep you up at night. The pain of regret will always outweigh the pain of discipline. And if that line hits you, good. It means there's still time. Time to make the hard choices. Time to become dangerous. Because if you're not dangerous, you're disposable. It's how the world works. It rewards the capable and forgets the weak. You want peace? Be capable of violence. You want respect? Build results no one can ignore. You want freedom? Outwork everyone, outsmart everyone, outlast everyone. That's how real men move. That's how winners dominate. There's always going to be a voice in your head telling you to rest, to take it easy, to quit. That voice is your enemy. That's the voice of weakness, and it's lying to you. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not broken. You're untrained. You don't need a break. You need to break through. That's how I silenced my doubts. I buried them under action. Every time fear crept in, I got louder. Every time I hesitated, I pushed harder, because hesitation is death in this game. The world moves fast, and if you blink, you're done. You need to move like your life depends on it, because it does. Success doesn't wait for you to be ready. It rewards the man who shows up, ready or not. The most dangerous man is the one who's been underestimated, the one who's been doubted, mocked, dismissed, and didn't fold. He trained in silence, he built in darkness, and when the time came, he erupted like a storm. That's who you need to become. That's the mentality. You don't announce it, you just show up, undeniable, no warning, no explanation, just results that shut everyone up. That's the fire you need. That's what it means to win at all costs, not just physically, not just financially, but spiritually. You win because losing isn't even an option. You win because you've tasted the dirt and you're never going back. You want a better life? Then stop treating this like a game. This is war. Every day you wake up with two choices: rise or stay the same. That's it. You either go all in or you get left behind. There's no middle ground. There's no safety net. It's dominate or be dominated. So if you're serious, if you really want it, then burn the fallback plan. Kill the excuses, silence the noise, step into the fire, and become the man the world fears, the man who wins relentlessly, unapologetically, at all costs. The difference between winners and everyone else isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's obsession. It's discipline. It's waking up every single day with a fire so violent it burns through every excuse, every setback, every weakness. Winners don't care how they feel. They care about the mission. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't tolerate distractions. They get up, they grind, and they keep moving forward regardless of the storm around them. Discipline is the only real freedom. You think you're free when you sleep in or skip the workout or ignore the business plan? That's not freedom. That's enslavement to comfort. That's the leash of mediocrity tightening around your throat while you pretend you're relaxed. True freedom is earned through suffering, through sacrifice, through relentless action. You want to be great? Then you better understand something right now. This world doesn't reward the kind-hearted loser. It rewards the ruthless producer. The man who shows up whether it's raining or burning. The man who doesn't wait for motivation because he is the motivation. Winners make their habits stronger than their feelings. And that's the key. You can't be a slave to your emotions. You think I always want to work? You think I never doubt myself? Of course I do. But the difference is I act anyway. I override the weakness. I kill it with momentum. Every rep, every deal, every morning when I don't want to move, but I do anyway, that's where the power builds. That's where the king is forged. Not in luxury, not in celebration, in war. In the lonely grind where no one claps, where no one believes, where it's just you and your will to dominate. And the deeper you go into the pursuit of greatness, the fewer people you'll find around you. That's the truth. Most won't understand your drive. They'll call it obsession. They'll say you're arrogant, too focused, too serious. Let them talk. Their comfort is their prison. Their mediocrity is their identity. You, on the other hand, are here for war. You're here to conquer your limits, destroy your weaknesses, and rebuild yourself into someone who never folds. Every day you skip discipline, someone else is taking your spot. That's the reality. While you rest, someone else is refining. While you complain, someone else is capitalizing. The gap between you and the throne widens every time you choose comfort. You want to catch up? Then move with urgency, with intention, with a savage hunger that refuses to starve. Winners see failure and smile because they understand one thing. It's not final. It's feedback. It's a map to the next level. Every L is just a lesson if your ego doesn't get in the way. Weak men run from pain. Strong men learn from it. The world belongs to the man who's been through hell and came back stronger. That's the truth no one wants to face. They want shortcuts, they want hacks, they want someone to do the work for them. But there's no cheat code to greatness. There's only pain, repetition, discipline, and results. And the moment you fall in love with that process, everything changes. Because now it's not about winning once, it's about winning forever. In every area, business, fitness, relationships, your entire existence becomes a battlefield where the only acceptable outcome is domination. You weren't born to be average. Deep down you know it. There's a reason you're still reading this. There's a voice in you screaming for more. A voice that's sick of being ignored. That voice is your higher self. And it's done watching you settle. It's time you stopped betraying it. You already know what needs to be done. You're just hoping there's another way. There isn't. And that's the most powerful truth of all. The life you want is behind the work you're avoiding. The strength you crave is on the other side of the resistance. The man you're meant to be is hidden under the version you're too comfortable to kill. So do it. Step up. Tear the comfort apart. Build a mind that's unbreakable, a body that intimidates, a will that can't be tamed. That's what it means to win at all costs. It's not a choice, it's your duty. You've heard enough. Now it's time to act. You've sat in silence while life passed you by long enough. If you don't decide right now that you're going to chase greatness like your life depends on it, then you've already lost. The universe doesn't hand out rewards for effort. It delivers to the obsessed, the committed, the relentless. Your future isn't waiting for permission, it's waiting for your action. So what are you gonna do? Sit back and hope or rise and win? Every second you delay, someone else is becoming sharper, stronger, richer, faster. If you don't go all in, you'll be crushed by the ones who did. You want success? Then you better be ready to sacrifice. You better be ready to hurt, to fail, to rebuild, and still keep going. That's what separates champions from the crowd. This is your moment to draw the line. From this second forward, you live with purpose. You move with power. You think like a killer. Victory isn't a possibility. It's your obligation. Win at all costs because losing is no longer an option.